it's all in how we educate our clients, number one, about it. But
Yeah.
also, let's face it, what experience are we giving them? You have to really look at if you go into any of this, any part of clean, green, sustainable, holistic, if you go into it with a ton of doubts and you're not sure and you have like this negative energy around
Energy.
it,
Oh,
yeah, that transfers. So then that's when you end up getting the kickback from your clients. That's when you end up getting people going, no, thank you. I don't want to spend money on this, or I'm not going to pay for this or that, or whatever. Welcome to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint, your podcast for unlocking the secrets to a thriving salon business through holistic practices. I'm Jacquelyn Rodriguez, your host. And join me each week as we explore wellness, sustainability, and business success. Everything from attracting conscious clients to adopting eco-friendly practices. We're going to cover it all to elevate your salon business. All right, so welcome back to the Salon Owners Holistic Blueprint podcast. And today we are going to be talking to Kimberly Loomis, and she is an independent stylist. She owns a cruelty-free, vegan, gender-neutral salon called Urban Posh Salon in Columbus, Ohio. And I'm just really excited to have you because you've got so many amazing things going on. So please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you.
yeah. Hi, friends. Like Jacqueline said, I'm an independent salon owner, cruelty-free vegan. I'm also a green circle salon, and I run a gender-neutral pricing structure internally within my salon because hair is really about length and not so much about gender. I'm located in Columbus, Ohio. I've always been in Ohio, born and raised here. I love it here. I have also been nominated as a Face of Soulless Salons for 2023. And I'm also Modern Salon's top 100 most influential stylist for 2023. And I also run a independent education brand called Free Your Mind Education. So I do a little bit of everything from working backstage at New York Fashion Week. I've worked internationally with brands. I help mentor beauty school students and everything in between. So
I
little
love
jack of all trades.
it's amazing and it's all so impactful. Like everything that you're doing really does impact so many people and you're educating and inspiring. I think that that's just phenomenal, really, because I think and I believe hairstylists and especially salon leaders, we're leaders and we
Yeah.
get to inspire so much change in this industry and in this world. So thank you for just being you and sharing all of your amazing things with us.
Yeah, thank you. I knew 20 years ago when I got into this industry, I wanted to leave it a little bit better than how I found it. So I've really been working as many touch point as possible to like really make an impact as an individual that I can.
Yeah, and you're doing it. And so tell us a little bit about like the inspiration behind that. Like I mean, I know a lot of salon owner or like stylists, like we have big hearts. So we do want to make change. What was your point that just really solidified the change, the kind of change that you want to make in the industry?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the industry overall constantly changes between trends and fashion is constantly coming in and out. And then now we have so many different forms of social media. So everything's happening at such a fast pace now and everything's changing. And I think the one thing that I noticed that I wanted to stay true to was to be as authentic as possible. Because with so many different avenues and everything's being thrown to us, it's constantly that like kind of imposter syndrome of like, well, blah, blah, blah is doing this. I need to be doing this. And I think instead of just doing everything all the time, just focusing on what is important to you and your personal and brand values and how to elevate every experience that you do and taking every single thing and dissecting it and saying how can I make this better, how can I be more knowledgeable about it, how can I elevate this experience for my clients or for students or the industry altogether. And so I've really just tried to focus on staying true to myself and things that impact me personally and impact my business and my clients, and try to create the best outcome possible.
Amazing. And I do think that being authentic, because we're all so individual. And that's one thing I never really understood about the beauty industry as a whole is, why are we always looking to one standard of beauty when we are literally, we couldn't be more different than, you know,
Absolutely.
we're so different, and we are all amazing and beautiful and knowledgeable and caring. We should highlight those aspects. So I am so excited that that's being authentic and
Yeah.
being truly what's important to you. And that's what I try to like teach to my students as well, is like, you're so unique. You don't have to be like
We should
anybody
be
else.
celebrating it. We should
Yes.
be celebrating our uniqueness and what everyone has to bring to the table. That's the only way we're going to grow as stylists or business owners or educators or just this industry together. Unless we start sharing and just celebrating each other, then there's no growth in that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to do this series and the podcast, is highlighting and celebrating all these amazing stylists who are doing this. Because I know, I mean, being in the industry for 24 years, owning my own salon for 12 years, like it gets lonely and it's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah.
And unless we're like these big brands, you don't see us celebrate it. You don't see the things that just day to day stylists and salon owners are doing when we're staying up all night to make new services and, revamping our salon space, not just to revamp, but like intentional. Like you were telling me in your salon space, everything's intentional. It's women
Mhm.
owned, local. We think through these things. And I think that all deserves to be talked about and celebrated.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
need to do more of it, just celebrating babes supporting babes and as much as possible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then tell me a little bit about, because you are sustainable and you are focused on cruelty free and vegan. What made you want to have that as a very big part of your business?
Yeah, amazing question. So I am kind of new to the green game. It's something that I've always been passionate about, of being sustainable as much as possible. I think there's multiple levels of being sustainable, but I think a step forward is always a step forward, right? Like, if everyone's making one small step, we're making a huge step together.
Mhm.
And so as an independent, I've been independent for 14 years now. And like I said, I always want to elevate my client's experience. How can I make it the best experience from start to finish for them? And I went through and I dissected everything, who I am and what I have to offer as a business and a brand, and even to my services. And I was like, I have these amazing clients that I've had for, you know, a couple years, right? Like some of them I've had for 17, 18 years of most of my career. And they
Yeah.
come in for their root touch ups, and they come in for their color and their cut. And I'm like, there has to be a better way of putting less chemicals, right? Obviously, they're still going to need to get their hair colored, and they're still going to need products and all this other stuff. But what are we putting in them? What are we putting on our clients? What are we applying to their hair? And it made me dive deep into research of ingredients lists. And that's kind of what started for me, of having cleaner ingredients and then following that up with cleaner brands and expectations and holding brands accountable. I think that's the biggest thing, is as an impact, as the beauty industry together, we can make a huge impact. And we have to start holding brands accountable, of even down to, like, again, making one step forward is one step forward. And if they're not into making one step forward, then we need to ask them why. Why are we not trying to make it better, even for our safety behind the chair? Because we might have 6 colors that day. And so that's kind of where it started, of elevating even to the products that I'm putting and the ingredients that I'm putting in my clients' hair that is touching their skin. How do I give them the best experience from there? And then it turned into like, oh my gosh, into packaging again. And then it kind of snowballed into this amazing, beautiful thing where I'm like, we are making a huge impact and there is so much waste. And like, just myself, I just last year, I recycled 200 pounds of waste by myself as a green circle salon. And just within them 200 pounds of beauty waste, that includes color and extra, foil and hair, and everything gets recycled in my salon. And being a carbon neutral, I know that I'm helping neutralize that impact on our environment as much as possible as I can. And, starting with taking out bottled waters and replacing them with, glasses that you can refill at the water fountain is such a small impact that makes a huge difference overall.
It's all compounding on each other. And that's
Absolutely.
what we don't realize. And for anyone listening, like, this is important, right? Hear her story. It's just changing that one thing. It started with one idea of how can I make this better? And much like my story, it snowballed. And it just kind of takes over because you can't unknow any of this stuff, right? You start going down the rabbit
Some of
hole.
it's scary.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, the rabbit hole that I went down 12 years ago when I started all of this was very scary. And it got overwhelming because one of the key things that I didn't anticipate was I would care so much and I couldn't unknow the things. And there, in that moment, I want it to be perfect immediately, because I wanted to reduce the toxins. I wanted to reduce the waste. I wanted to do my part. And something that, kind of took over, where I kind of did the opposite, where I cared so much and I started creating a lot more stress in my life.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going, well, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I can't do this, because I felt like I had to do it perfect. So starting with just the one thing, letting that be your true authentic step forward.
Yep.
And then letting the rest come as it goes, and just knowing that nothing ever is going to be perfect. Like, even people in the sustainable world, where they have been doing it for decades and decades, they're not perfect. They give themselves grace, and every single little thing that you're doing makes such a big impact. And if every Sola Salon Suite, if I could say that, you know, person, like, leader, could just do one thing, switching out the water bottles, not offering water bottles anymore, and just offering like cute little glasses. Like I was showing earlier, it's empty, but what an elevated thing and what an impact that would make as a whole.
And it does, and that little thing doesn't really cost any money. You're actually saving money because you're not replenishing those bottled waters. And then you don't have to pay to get those bottled waters recycled, or taking time out of your day to drop them off at a recycling facility. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, like, on what you said, educating yourself on stuff makes such a huge impact. Of, if you educate yourself and you're excited about it, and then you tell your clients, and they might care less about being green or being more sustainable or about toxins in their products, but if you explain it to them, then they're excited, and then they go tell people. And the amount of people that come back, and they're like, oh my God, I was talking about you to all my girlfriends and saying how my hair gets recycled into like oil spill cleanup mats and stuff. And they're like, it's the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, then they feel like they're part of, fixing the problem, just with them just coming in and getting a service done by you. It's such a great, like, 360.
Well, it's that ripple effect. When I started, my clients could have cared less because again,
Yeah.
it was 12 years ago. So they were like, what? And I've always been one of those people. I do not follow trends. I don't follow what
Yeah.
other people are doing. So I'm usually the one going, I'm doing this new crazy thing. So they're always like, okay, what are you doing now, Jacquelyn? And because I'm excited about it, because I educate myself, they maybe didn't care at first, but it was something where they were like, that's kind of cool. I'll tell
Mhm.
my people about it. And then I started getting people coming in and going, hey, I got a recycling bin at home. What? Okay, like you could have cared less a year ago. And
Yep.
now you've started to recycle and their kids see that. So never, ever, ever underestimate the impact that you have in your client's life.
Oh, absolutely. In so many different avenues. Like, it's insane how much we actually get to connect physically, obviously, and mentally and emotionally with our clients all around. Just, it's, it's a give or take. They impact us just as much as we impact them. So
100%. And that's the beautiful
100%.
relationship that we get to create and cultivate, right? So I do
Absolutely.
want to ask you because you said something about pricing. And I think this is so important because one of the things that I hear the most when we talk about sustainability or clean products is it's too expensive. It's too
Yeah.
expensive. And you just used an example of like you're actually saving money by not buying the water bottles and just using glass. Um, there's so many examples like that that you can save. And I just want to hear your experience, like going through this, being in it for so long, like what have you seen and realized?
Yeah, great question. So, me as an independent, I think what I was worried about was the price point because I seen once I started looking into it and I was like, okay, well, to be an actual like green circle salon or recyclable salon, like it's a monthly payment. It's a monthly thing for them to, send you your boxes to ship back to them for them to recycle and all that other stuff. And I was like, is it actually worth it? Is it gonna make that much of an impact? Am I actually gonna do it? Let's be honest, because
Oh
we
my
all
God.
get so right. We get so busy in life and work and like, what if my clients give kickback to it and they're like, I don't want to be a part of it, or like whatever. So I sat down and I really thought about it again of I'm ordering less stuff, less throwaway stuff, water bottles, stuff like that. But also I talk to my clients about it and it's already wrapped up in my monthly expenses. It's already included in their price. I don't charge them extra for it. I don't do anything else like that. And when it broke down, it was like a quarter extra, maybe. I mean, I'm talking tops. I'm like over exaggerating at this point, but per client, per customer, like they're they're not going to care if I round their thing up to 25 cents to
Yes.
pay for this recycling when I explain to them what all it does and how excited I am. And then they get excited about it and they're like, cool, I love it. I'm here for it. And now they ask me more and more questions about it of like, when I go to, dump out my excess hair color to be recycled, they're like, "Oh, so how does it work again?" Like, oh my gosh, let me see. Like, they love it. And so I just rounded it into my pricing to my monthly expenses because it's something that, I am doing and it is my brand. It is 100% my brand. And it's part of the service that they receive when they come into the salon. So why would I not include that in the price of their services?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is exactly the whole thing, right? It's all in how we educate our clients, number one, about it, but
Yeah.
also let's face it, what experience are we giving them? You have to really look at if you go into any of this, any part of clean, green, sustainable, holistic, if you go into it with a ton of doubts and you're not sure and you have like this negative energy around
Energy.
it,
Oh,
yeah, that transfers. So then that's when you end up getting the kickback from your clients. That's when you end up getting people going, no, thank you. I don't want to spend money on this, or I'm not going to pay for this or that or whatever. Thank you for joining today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed the training. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about in today's training, or honestly, anything I've talked about on this podcast, I want you to go to www.cleanbeautybiz.com/advisor, or you can click the link in the show notes where you can ask me any questions you have about this episode or anything else that I have covered on this podcast. Again, that link is www.cleanbeautybiz.com, and this amazing little tool allows you to get your specific questions answered by me 24/7. And truth be told, when I started 12 years ago, I had a few clients to my face be like, I don't care about this. Like, I'm not paying extra for this. And I lost a few clients. But also, truth be told, they say that saved me, because if they gave kickback on something that is going to impact like the earth and their health and my health, I had to ask myself the hard question of, is that actually my ideal client?
Nope. That is not your target audience.
Exactly. And that's okay too. So I've been able to let go a lot of that belief. And I do think that the way we approach things, the way we truly believe in our subconscious, because I'm a neuro coach, so I always go to our subconscious thoughts. And if we have these really deep rooted subconscious thoughts that are going to impact us, learning how to rewire that and kind of let go of what we've been taught up until now, that is a really big part of it. And that is where you actually get that sweet spot of being able to bring in something new and bring in the ideal client that aligns with what you want, your unique self.
Brand authenticity and being, personally, like we said earlier about being authentic, but also having your brand be authentic. And you will literally, you've heard it time and time again, you'll attract your tribe and you'll find your clients. And I'm sure some of my clients are just like, they support me because they support me, but they also know when they come in here, they're getting the best products, the best experience, the best service, and more, that I'm doing other work outside of, from recycling to educating myself on everything.
This episode is brought to you by the Holistic Salon Academy. At the Academy, you gain access to knowledge, tools, and a thriving community you need to excel in the clean, green, and sustainable beauty business. By joining the Holistic Salon Academy, you become a pioneer in a new era of beauty and wellness.
Even when they're not in my chair, to help better serve them. So 100%, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And when you looked at the prices of your products, because you mentioned products earlier, how did that experience go over for you? Was it so astronomical expensive to change?
In ways, yes. In ways, no, to be 100% transparent. I was already using like cleaner type stuff. I use more kind of exclusive type, higher end quality brands on my clients. Again, creating that experience from start to finish for them and just trying to give them the best experience possible. But also when I went into it, I noticed going into, a cleaner line and cleaner packaging and everything that came with this line, the line kind of spoke for themselves, but also I noticed my retail sales skyrocketed because they were excited about, oh my gosh, my shampoo is clear of, sulfates and parabens and DTA, TTA, all of that stuff. And again, educating them. Like, if you educate your clients, you never have to sell them on anything. Because if you're being authentically you, they know that you're not just, hey, you have to buy this bottle of shampoo because I said you have to buy this bottle of shampoo. I'm telling you I'm using this shampoo on you because of X, Y, and Z. It's perfect for you because of A, B, C. And then they're excited because they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like my shampoo's clean now. And because with everything, we see it across the board with our skincare. We're being more kind of conscious on what we're putting on our skin and kind of where we buy our fashion from, right? We're trying to stay more away from fast fashion and more kind of in clean, streamline, products. And that includes our hair care as well. So, long story short, yes and no. But we worked through it and here we are. And yeah, everyone's happy.
Well, and the thing for me, like I went through and did an analysis and broke down by ounce shampoo, conditioner,
Yep.
a few different brands. I think I went like 8 or 9 different brands, clean, regular, low end, high end. And
Yep.
what I realized when we broke down the color by ounce and shampoos and conditioners by ounce, it truly depends on where you're starting. So,
Yep.
you starting with a more exclusive brand, you were probably paying
Yep.
more expensive than if you were going with a lower end, readily easy available product. You were probably spending more anyway, right?
Yeah, I
So
was.
difference for you probably wasn't as big of a jump as if somebody is going in from, using something that they're picking up, because I can't even believe it, but there are still hairstylists who grab their color from like Sally's,
Yeah.
let's just say, right? So if you're
Yeah.
going from something like that to a clean brand, I mean, ounce per ounce, yes, you are going to be, it's way expensive, right?
Yeah.
And what my recommendation in that would be is go somewhere in the middle. Inch your way up, unless you have the funds and you are so like committed and you're ready to do
Hmm.
it. But just know that just because you're going for a cleaner brand does not automatically mean that you're going to be paying way more. You got to look at where you're starting, and that's the power of actually like breaking it down per ounce and seeing where is that going.
Yeah, because my tube of color that I was already using was one of the highest priced ones in the market. So my shift, I think I actually saved money because it's 1 to 1.5 versus like equal parts. And the tubes were bigger, and I got better kind of spreadability, right? In my color, my clients noticed a huge, but it was free of all the chemicals. And then I feel like when you go with cleaner brands, they focus more on the, higher end ingredients list. So you're not worried about it being, you know, watered down or have all those extra like fillers into that product. So a little bit actually goes a long way with
Yeah.
those products. And I show my clients, I'm like the conditioners, I like turn them upside down and like do the DQ test. And I'm like, it's not watered down, it's not diluted. Like a little bit goes a very long way. Like
Yeah.
in most brands you can't do that with, but I'm like, this is because you're buying quality. It's quality over quantity all day long.
Yeah, but that's such an important part, and really breaking that down and seeing like you actually save money. I was in the same position. I was using a brand that was higher end,
Mhm.
and when tube for tube, the new cleaner brand was more expensive. And when you looked at it, it was also bigger. So I was getting more. So when I broke it down ounce per ounce, I was actually saving.
Yeah,
But we don't look at
100%.
that. And most people hear that it's more expensive or that it doesn't work. So just thank you for like being
Yeah.
honest with your experience, right? Because this is what we want to debunk. Like everybody's experience is different, and it all depends on where you're coming from first and where you want to go.
Yeah. And just taking that time to invest in researching for your business.
Yeah.
And again, like it can be scary if you're by yourself, or it could be scary if you're a huge 30 chair salon, right? Like the
Yeah.
investment's going to be different for everyone, but just take that little bit of extra care and time for your business and see what fits best for you
Yeah.
and your clients.
Of course. Yeah. It's creating that unique experience. And then with your experience, like I want to hear how has like getting new clients, like you have your old, clients, like loyal clients who would come to you no matter what because they love you and what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But what is your experience with getting new clients in as you're promoting and being a cleaner, sustainable salon?
Oh, it is in a crazy way, and so many less words. It's been remarkable. I have gained so many clients from being more green, vegan, cruelty free. Because again, we're starting to pay more attention to this. Our clients are starting to pay more attention to this, and they hear like little words and they pick up on it, whether if it's on TikTok or Instagram, or one of their friends have said something and they hear these like keywords. And so they're like, oh, well, I'm interested in that. I am very fortunate and not fortunate on the same flip of the coin of I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and we are the second largest city in the Midwest. And I am the only sustainable individual salon owner, which is, it's super disheartening and it's really sad.
Mhm.
That's why I have such a loud voice about it in my industry, where I'm like, guys, I know it's only like one person at a time, but together we can make a huge impact, right? And but on the other side of that coin, I am the only sustainable, person, I'm very clear about it. I'm and it's kind of when I speak to any client, to anyone, it's something of a conversation that definitely comes up. So it's true to who I am. And so I connect with those people that it's important to them. And going green was such a huge impact in the most positive way for my business, because it helps that other side of the clients that are easily overlooked, where they feel like they don't have a place to go. So you're hitting a whole different type of clientele base, um, to draw clients from. So it has been astonishing as an independent, just for going green, for getting more clients and retaining clients, because they come here and they see that I care about what products are, again, getting put on their
Mhm.
scalp and getting put in their hair, and about the environment. And it's something that not a lot of people in my area is doing. And so they're like, oh my gosh, you're ahead of the time, like I love this, I love that you care and you're passionate so much. And I was like, yeah, because your guys's, safety and your guys's happiness is my first concern. And so it's just been overall an amazing experience.
I love it. And it is sad that you're one of the only.
Yeah.
And I too, like within my area, I'm one of the only salons who is involved. Like there's a lot of green circle salons with waste management that I do
Mhm.
notice more of. But as far as coming, like really being authentic, clean,
Yeah.
sustainable, full on,
All of it.
all of it, we are one of the only. And we've had the same response. Remarkable.
Yeah.
People are driving all over the place to come to us. And so just from a business standpoint, right? Because this is the things that we care about. As a business owner, we have to know, one, is it worth our time and energy? Two, is it worth our money? And are we going to get that return in investment? So, they're always hearing it from me, but this is why I love this series, because they get to hear it authentically from others who are actually doing it. And from your experience, it sounds like you did get above and beyond your return.
Oh yeah. Like it's one of those things of like, you don't know that you didn't know until you know, kind of things, where I'm like, I keep hearing that saying, and it's like so true in so many different avenues and aspects of life. And like, again, I just started out like, how can I elevate my client's experience? How can I make it better for them? Oh, let's pay attention to ingredients. And then, oh, let's do X, Y, and Z. And then it grew into being sustainable and cruelty free and vegan, and kind of really finding my voice as a brand. And it has turned into this amazing thing. And it's been the most incredible experience as a business owner, of growing myself and starting out without knowing anything. Like,
Yeah.
just start. If I could say anything, just start researching. Just make that step of wanting to better yourself, better the industry, better the community and the world as much as possible. And yeah, a step forward, like I said before, a step forward is still a step forward.
Yes. And I want to piggyback off of that, of like taking that step forward. Like just do the research, take the one step, pick the one thing that's important to you.
Yeah.
But for you to see success, and this is what I've seen along the way, teaching other stylists how to do it, is don't be quiet about it. Don't do the research in the back and see if it's going to work, or, wait till it's all perfect to show it to your staff, to show it to your clients. No, no. Talk about it.
Have those conversations.
Yes. Have the conversations. Talk about your journey. Even when you just spark the idea of, okay, I want to look into cleaner products. That's it. Have that idea, do a little research, and then start talking to your clients about it. It's almost like that anticipation starts to build as well for them and for you. And then once you do that, people are already going to start to be expecting it and get excited about it. So then you're going to see a huge like acceptance, excitement, and people like waiting for those, ready to book those new services. So don't be quiet about it. I think a lot of stylists or salon owners like want to get everything perfect before they go and show it. It's like, no, if you start talking about, especially in this realm of clean and sustainable, people want to hear about it, and it will build up so much buzz that you're going to have an amazing blast of energy and money and all of the things coming in.
All of it. Yeah. I 1,000,000% like completely agree with all of the above what you said.
I love it. Well, I say this probably on every podcast because I get the chance to have such amazing conversations, but we could talk like forever. So yeah. I would love to hear like any last final things that you want to touch on. Actually, I would like to hear one thing. And one question I always forget to ask is, what was the number one challenge that you are either currently facing or faced as you were transitioning? Thank you for joining today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed the training. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about in today's training, or honestly, anything I've talked about on this podcast, I want you to go to www.cleanbeautybiz.com/advisor, or you can click the link in the show notes where you can ask me any questions you have about this episode or anything else that I have covered on this podcast. Again, that link is www.cleanbeautybiz.com. And this amazing little tool allows you to get your specific questions answered by me 24/7.
I would say, oh, that's so good. I would say the confidence. I would say, I don't know. I would also say support and confidence. Having support of doing something different and going out of your way to find stuff that's not necessarily the easiest to find, especially the most honest information to find. And I know this amazing group called the Green Beauty Coalition. They do such a fantastic job of putting together all this amazing information for everyone that, hasn't really existed until now. And, it's made from these great people, that comes together. And, but having the confidence of thinking outside the box and doing something different because you're staying true to yourself, I would say is the biggest thing of like, it's okay to be different. And again, we said earlier today, we should be celebrating everyone's uniqueness and ability to bring something different to the table. And that was kind of hard for me as an independent because I didn't have a whole salon full of cheerleaders, right? It was something that I was trying to venture out and do by myself, but also like yeah, you know what? This is who I am. And I'm going to stay true to this. So I would say a little bit of both.
Beautifully said. I think that that
Yeah.
is the number one and two things that people deal with in battle. So always find your support system. Like I always try to be, it doesn't sound good, but like I want to be the dumbest person in the room. I don't want to know everything. I want to be able to surround myself with people who I admire, I look up to, I am learning from, and bringing in that type of energy because whoever I surround myself around, that is going to either boost my confidence or lower my confidence. So it's twofold, right? If you're surrounding yourself with people who are holding you high and supporting you and cheering you on, whether you're in a salon or you're by yourself. Because when I started, I was independent as well. It was just me.
Yeah.
I now have a smaller team, but we're a boutique. So it's not like I have 30 stylists on my team. We are very boutique and outside of our little love, bubble.
Community.
Yeah, I can't even think our love bubble, which also sounds weird. um, Outside of that, I make sure that I am surrounding with people who elevate my life and
Hmm.
we have control over that. And the beautiful World Wide Web is there for us to connect with people who before we would not have been able to. So take advantage of those things. Get into these communities. And yes, the Green Beauty community, we would love to have you. Um, the Green Beauty community, we have a beautiful forum, lots of spaces for you to learn and everything. Even here on the podcast, like this is a
Yeah.
community. Communicate with me, message Kim, any of our speakers. Like this is what we love to do. Talk about it, educate, elevate. So join our community. Don't try to do it on your own. You don't have to. Like,
You
please,
really don't.
no, please learn from what I mean. I did. I ended up having to because it wasn't even a thing then.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing now is there is so much out there. So thank you for being on the podcast and for all the beautiful things that you're doing to elevate this industry. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being in my bubble of people.
Yes. Thank you so much for just everything you do behind the scenes. I know everyone might not notice all the hard work that you put in, but I can never thank you guys enough for just everything you do for the industry and for our community. So thank you from all of us.
Thank you. And please tell everyone where we can find you because I will put it in the show
Oh,
notes,
yeah.
but let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram just at Kimberly, Kimberly Loomis, Loomis on Instagram. My salon is Urban Posh Salon on Instagram, and my independent education is Free Your Mind Education on Instagram. So a little bit here and there.
Beautiful. And I will have all of those links for you in the show notes, including my holistic salon audit. So you make sure that you hop on the show notes, get my free audit, and you get a little extra surprise in there as well that you'll have to download to find. But thank you for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for supporting this podcast, and for pushing this movement forward. We honestly couldn't do it without all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Salon Owner's Holistic Blueprint. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow and subscribe. Until next time, stay inspired, stay passionate, and keep thriving in the world of holistic beauty.